conversations we get to have is how we are responsible for fully funding our schools so all of our children have the opportunities we have as we sit in this room.
We have the talents, but the system is so bureaucratic in such a way that navigating it to put your foot at the door is actually one of the most difficult things.
This bill is common sense. It makes our roads safer. In states that have a similar policy in place, the rate of hit and runs decreased between 7 and 10%.
Welcome to Afrisota, the place where every story aspires to inspire. But before we dive into the particular stories of African immigrants in Minnesota, let's take a walk down memory lane from where it all started. In the heart of the Midwest lies a beautiful place, Minnesota, a rich mosaic of cultures. This tapestry is vibrant with threads of African heritage, woven from the dreams and determination of immigrant families. From the tranquil lakes to bustling cities, their influence is seen and felt. The African immigrant community, with its rich heritage and unyielding spirit, is a prominent thread in this mosaic, sharing a story of resilience, a story of culture and community. But how did this all begin, one may ask? The history of African immigrants in Minnesota is a poignant narrative of resilience, growth, and significant contribution to the state's cultural and economic fabric. Beginning in earnest in the late 20th century, particularly during the 1990s, Minnesota saw an influx of African immigrants with notable populations arriving from Somalia, Ethiopia, Liberia, and other African nations. This migration was not just a journey across continents, but a voyage towards hope, greener pastures, and a new beginning. These individuals and families were drawn to Minnesota for its educational opportunities, supportive refugee services, and the promise of a community where they could rebuild their lives far from the conflicts and economic hardships of their homelands. Amidst the tumult of civil wars and unrest, these brave individuals sought safety and stability, a testament of their unyielding resilience. They were determined to build a brighter future for their families. From east to west, north to south, Africans brought with them their rich cultures, traditions, and dreams, adding vibrant strokes to the diverse canvas of Minnesota. Despite the initial challenges of integration, including navigating a new culture and climate, African immigrants have played a pivotal role in enriching Minnesota's diversity and strengthening its social fabric. To this day, African immigrants continue to struggle with challenges such as racial discrimination, cultural integration difficulties, and the task of finding employment that matches their skills and education.
We have the talents, but we don't have, the system is so bureaucratic in such a way that navigating it to put your foot at the door is actually one of the most difficult things.
However, their resilience and determination to succeed have been evident in their enormous achievements across various sectors. The Somali American community in particular has been instrumental in revitalizing neighborhoods like Cedar Riverside in Minneapolis, turning them into bustling enclaves of African-owned businesses, including restaurants, grocery stores, and professional services that cater not only to the immigrant population, but also to Minnesota at large. These ventures have not only provided employment opportunities, but have also introduced Minnesotans to the rich tapestry of African cultures. These are not just places of commerce, but also vibrant arenas where tradition comes alive, where stories are told, and where bonds are formed. Take a step into any of these establishments, and you'll feel the pulse of a culture that has journeyed across oceans and decades to find a home in Minnesota. You'll find Somali tea shops serving fragrant cups of sha, Ethiopian restaurants offering injera and dorowat, Kenyan boutiques selling vibrant vitenge fabrics, Cameroonian cuisines serving fufu and ero, ndole and achu, Liberian cuisines serving banga soup, potato leaves, collard greens, and so much more. You'll also find a thriving healthcare sector serviced by African nurses, LPNs, and CNAs, and a host of healthcare staffing agencies that continue to serve healthcare facilities in Minnesota. But these businesses do more than just providing goods and services. They also serve as meeting points for community members, places where they can connect, share experiences, and support each other. Many of these establishments also provide employment opportunities for Minnesotans and recent immigrants, helping them to establish a foothold in their new home. African immigrants in Minnesota have also made remarkable strides in political legislative arenas, breaking barriers and setting precedents. Individuals like Ilan Omar, a Somali American, have risen to national prominence, first being elected to the Minnesota House of Representatives in 2016 and then to the United States Congress in 2018, making her one of the first Muslim women and the first Somali American elected to Congress.
And so I want you guys to, for the little bit of time that I have, to talk about the systematic barriers that exist in creating prosperity and what it means for us to remove those so that all of us could have the prosperity that is guaranteed within our Constitution.
Senator Fateh was sworn into Minnesota legislature on January 5th, 2021, representing District 62, which encompasses parts of South Minneapolis and Hennepin County.
We know how hard school closures have been on families and kids, but this bill is irresponsible, it lacks adequate planning, and it would result in more disproportionate deaths of Minnesotans of color. Until we have a serious plan in place, I urge all my colleagues
Senator
to vote no.
Zainab Mohammed, who represents District 63, born in 1997, her victory not only represents the aspirations and achievements of African immigrants in Minnesota, but also marks her as one of the youngest individuals and one of the first Black women to hold such a position in the state's legislative history. From her early life as an immigrant to her rise in Minnesota's legislative landscape, she exemplifies the contributions of African immigrants to the state's socio-political fabric.
This bill is common sense. It makes our roads safer. In states that have a similar policy in place, the rate of hit and runs decreased between 7 and 10%. The rate of uninsured drivers decreased. The roads got safer.
Their achievements and those of fellow immigrants in businesses and other areas have played a crucial role in building a more inclusive, diverse, and vibrant Minnesota. The success stories of African immigrants in Minnesota are a testament to how they have become indispensable to the Minnesota's growth and how their contributions have helped shape a more vibrant, diverse, and inclusive Minnesota. Through their entrepreneurial spirit, cultural contributions, and political engagements, African immigrants have not only found a new home in Minnesota, but have also significantly contributed to building the state's economy, enriching its cultural landscape, and fostering a more inclusive society. Their journey from newcomers to integral members of the community underscores the essential role immigrants play in the ongoing story of America, reinforcing the idea that diversity and inclusion are key drivers of progress and prosperity. Community leaders, many of whom are immigrants themselves, have been instrumental in uniting African immigrants towards a better society. Through their leadership and vision, they have helped to create a community that is not only thriving, but also deeply connected to its cultural roots. These efforts are about more than just building businesses and cultural centers. They are about creating a sense of belonging, a feeling of home. They're about preserving traditions and sharing them with a new audience. They're about making meaningful contribution to the cultural, economic, social, and political landscape of Minnesota. These efforts have not only facilitated integration, but have also added to the state's cultural diversity. The African immigrant community in Minnesota, through its resilience and entrepreneurial spirit, has woven a vibrant thread into the state's cultural fabric, enriching it for all who call Minnesota home. Through festivals and cuisines, African immigrants have left a lasting mark in Minnesota. The streets echo with the cadence of African languages, the aroma of traditional cuisines, and the vibrancy of cultural festivals. These are the threads that weave the rich tapestry of Minnesota's cultural exchange. Equally engaging are the cultural festivals. Bursting with color and rhythm, they breathe life into the streets, showcasing diverse traditions of Africa. From dance and music to art and craft, these festivals are more than just celebrations. They are a testament of the enduring spirit of the African immigrant community. They offer a window into the diverse traditions of the African continent, fostering a greater appreciation of its rich cultures. Facing integration challenges and discrimination, the African immigrant community in Minnesota has shown remarkable resilience. This journey has been far from easy, marked by obstacles that have tested and shaped the community's enduring spirit. Language barriers, cultural differences, and even the harsh Minnesota winters have been part of this experience. But through it all, the community's strength and unity have been its guiding light. This resilience has bred success stories that inspire. We see individuals from this community excelling and breaking barriers in various fields. From the classrooms of prestigious universities to the boardrooms of successful businesses and organizations, the African community is leaving an indelible mark in the state of Minnesota. In the world of politics too, they have made strides, with individuals taking up roles to represent not just their community, but all Minnesotans. The story of African immigrants in Minnesota celebrates diversity and community strength. Each thread tells a story of overcoming challenges, of building bridges, and of creating a home away from home. They remind us that united, we can create a more inclusive future. This legacy of hope, resilience, and contribution continues to inspire as we journey through the particular stories of African immigrants in Minnesota. From state officials, community leaders, entrepreneurs, farmers, healthcare professionals, innovators, and personal journeys, Afrisota has lined up inspiring stories to keep you engaged and uplifted in this new home, Minnesota. Don't miss a story. Subscribe, like, drop a comment, and share. To tell your story, send an email to mystory@afrisota.com. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next story. Bye-bye.